All right, this is a government dump. The reach of our U.S. justice system is long. The sentences imposed demonstrate that we are committed to prosecuting those individuals who threaten U.S. consumers no matter where they are located, USA, Fajardo, or Shan. 4 Peruvians sentenced to overseeing Spanish speaking, and we're going to click this and open it up and make sure it's nice and centered, which it isn't. Here we go. All right. Department of Justice, U.S. Attorney's Office, Southern District of Florida. 4 Peruvians sentenced for overseeing Spanish-speaking call centers that threatened and extorted U.S. consumers. Dun, dun, dun! All right. So, we have Jesus Gutierrez Rojas at 37. Alexandra Podesta Bengoa at 38. Virgilio Polo Davila at 43, and Omar Portocarrero Caceres, 39, were extradited from Peru in April. Each pleaded guilty to extortion and has now been sentenced to prison by this person. Okay, U.S. District Court Judge Roy K. Altman in Fort Lauderdale. As part of his guilty plea, Gutierrez admitted that he oversaw a series of affiliated call centers in Peru that falsely told Spanish-speaking victims across the United States they had incurred debts and would suffer various consequences for failing to pay off the debts that they did not in fact owe. As part of their guilty pleas, Podesta, Polo, and Portocarrero admitted that they had managed and supervised 3 of these affiliated call centers that used extortion to obtain money from vulnerable U.S. consumers. Today, Judge Altman sentenced Gutierrez to 51 months in federal prison for his role overseeing the affiliated call centers and sentenced Podesta and Polo to 46 months imprisonment. Judge Altman sentenced Portocarrero to 46 months in federal prison on July 24th. Each defendant was also ordered to serve 3 years supervised release following their terms of incarceration and to make restitution payments to the victims of their scheme. As part of their guilty pleas, this got names in it and all this other stuff. The big grandstanding thing of, we will, seek out people who prey on vulnerable U.S. consumers. So, as part of their guilty pleas, Podesta, Polo, and Portocarrero each admitted that their Peruvian call centers contacted U.S. consumers, many of whom were elderly and vulnerable, using internet-based calls, falsely claiming to be attorneys and government representatives. Podesta, Polo, and Portocarrero and their employees falsely told victims that they failed to pay or receive a delivery of products and threatened them into paying fraudulent settlements for non-existent debts. The callers falsely threatened victims with lawsuits, negative marks on their credit reports, imprisonment, or immigration consequences if they did not immediately pay for the purportedly delivered products and settlement fees. Many victims made monetary payments based on these baseless, extortionist threats. Gutierrez was the general manager of the larger company where he worked in partnership with Podesta, Polo, and Portocarrero and others to facilitate their extortion scheme. The defendants' associates in Miami collected the payments from thousands of victims across the United States. Let me see. The reach of our U.S. justice system is long, said the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, Ariana Fajardo Orshan. The sentences imposed demonstrate that we are committed to prosecuting those individuals who threaten U.S. consumers no matter where they are located. We will find you and we will prosecute you. Because that is the way we are. This is here's the thing with everybody's name in it, as well as this. So we're going to get to the next one. Flip. Next one. Here we go. Pip. Like I said, there's lots of justice news today. A couple of them out of Florida and a couple more out of, other places. But mostly, 2 and 2. Former City of Miami police officer sentenced to prison after having been convicted at trial. Dun, dun, dun! The miscarriage of justice. Today, U.S. District Judge Cecilia M. Altonaga sentenced former City of Police Miami. The illiteracy is strong in this one. Sentenced former City of Miami police officer Kelvin Harris to 27 and a half years in prison for his involvement in a drug trafficking conspiracy and possessing a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime. Co-defendant James Archibald, or Archibald, however you want to say it, also a former City of Miami police officer, was sentenced to 10 years in prison for his involvement in the drug trafficking conspiracy. These are all the names of the people involved. Former City of Miami police officers Kelvin Harris, James Archibald, and Sconton Harris, what a first name, were charged for their individual involvement in the drug trafficking conspiracy. There's the case number. On June 28, 2019, Kelvin Harris, who had been on the police force for 26 years, he threw away 26 effing years, and Archibald, who had been an officer for 2 years, were each convicted by a federal jury of conspiring to possess with the intent to distribute more than 5 kilos of cocaine in 2018. Woo! In addition, Kelvin Harris was convicted of 3 counts of attempting to possess with the intent to distribute cocaine and 3 counts of possessing a firearm during the commission of a drug trafficking crime. Archibald was also convicted of 1 count of attempting to possess with the intent to distribute cocaine. On January 24, 2019, Sconton Harris pled guilty to conspiring with other officers to possess with the intent to distribute cocaine from August through September of 2018. On April 17, 2019, Sconton Harris was sentenced to 15 and a half years in prison. Wow. You throw away 26 years of being a police officer. Wow. That's just, wow. Officers Kelvin Harris, Archibald, and Sconton Harris received cash payments of $10,000, $6,500, and $17,000 respectively for their involvement in the criminal enterprise. All right, here we go. Out of the Justice Department proper here. Federal court shuts down Orlando tax return preparer. Jesus, it's another Florida fuck up. This is the serious side of the Florida man, I guess. The way serious side of the Florida man. Let me see here. The United States District Court for the Middle District of Florida has permanently barred defendant Gladys Quiles from preparing federal tax returns for others. The complaint filed by the United States alleged that Quiles did not sign the tax returns she prepares and does not identify herself in any way on the returns, instead operating as a ghost preparer. The complaint further alleged that she repeatedly and continually prepared tax returns that understated liabilities and overstated refunds. Her alleged schemes included fabricating business income or expenses reported on Schedule C, profit or loss from business, and deducting false employee business expenses on Schedule A, itemized deductions. Wow. The injunction was entered against Quiles by default because she failed to defend against the government's allegations. The complaint alleges that Quiles lives in Orlando, Florida. She won't for long. Return preparer fraud is one of the IRS Dirty Dozen tax scams for 2019, and taxpayers seeking a return preparer should remain vigilant. Ghost preparers neither sign the returns they prepare nor include their preparer tax identification number on those returns, despite their obligations to do so. The IRS has cautioned taxpayers about ghost preparers because ghost preparers can hurt honest taxpayers who are simply trying to do the right thing and file a legitimate tax return. The IRS has information on its website about selecting a return preparer and has launched a free directory of federal tax preparers. So yeah, let's see. We can get a little more information on this. The Dirty Dozen. All right, here we go. Falsely claiming zero wages, filing phony W-2s and 1099s, choosing tax preparers with care, and many others, I guess. And they listed all 12 of them, I guess, over here. Yeah. So for those of you living in the United States that would like to take a look at the Dirty Dozen, here be the Dirty Dozen in the chat right there. There's a link to the Dirty Dozen. All right, so next one out of the Justice Department. Oh, another one out of South Florida. All right, here we go. 5 individuals convicted for participating in global fraud scheme. Ariana Fajardo Orshon has been busy. 6 individuals were charged for their involvement in the global fraud scheme by Ramji Jawad, a citizen of Pakistan, and chairman of the Dubai-based Uniworld Group, pleaded guilty on August 19, 2019 to one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 1349. Javad faces a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison plus potential restitution of a fine of up to $250,000. Sunil Chopra and William Armando, yay, a name I can pronounce, both residents of California, each pleaded guilty on August 19th of this year to one count of conspiracy to obtain pre-retail medical products worth $5,000 or more by fraud or deception in violation of Title 18 United States Code section listed her. They face a maximum statutory penalty of 15 years in prison. Emmanuel Dascos pleaded guilty on July 16th of this year to also violating Title 18 United States Code right her. Luis Soto, a customs broker residing in Miami, Florida, was convicted by trial jury on August 23rd of this year of one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and one count of conspiracy to obtain pre-retail medical products worth $5,000 or more by fraud or deception, 2 counts of wire fraud contrary to Title 18 United States Code section listed her, and 2 counts of obtaining pre-retail medical products by fraud or deception contrary to Title 18 United States Code section her. The defendants have not yet been sentenced. One defendant, James Cipro, a resident of Georgia, is awaiting trial and is presumed innocent. According to the superseding indictment, between 2014 and 2017, Javad orchestrated a fraud scheme to purchase FDA-regulated products, including medical devices from manufacturers in the United States, at deeply discounted prices by lying to them about the destination and purpose of the goods. Javad represented that he was a large supplier of medical and food products to United States troops in Afghanistan and sought deep discounts from the manufacturers, claiming that he could provide their goods to American troops in Afghanistan or to the Afghan people. In truth, Javad wanted to obtain these products at prices not generally offered in the United States to sell those products himself in this country, not abroad, and not to the military, at a significant profit. To execute this scheme, the conspirators insisted that products be packaged for United States market, falsely claiming to the manufacturers this was required by the U.S. military and Afghan government or the Buy American Act, when the products nonetheless had stickers or other packaging on them stating that the items were for export only. The conspirators secretly removed those labels. After acquiring the products, Javad and the co-conspirators arranged for the diversion of the products to various locations in the United States. To conceal this activity, the conspirators typically shipped products abroad and then had them immediately shipped back to the United States. Sounds like a lot of work. Or provided the victims with fraudulent shipping documentation showing that the products were exported when actually they had never left this country. Javad admitted the allegations of superseding indictment during his guilty plea. During Soto's trial, the government proved these allegations to the jury and presented additional evidence about the defendant's scheme. For example, they often represented that they were purchasing items on behalf of the Afghanistan Reconstruction and Development Services, which at one time was the agency of the Afghan government funded in part by the U.S. The agency ceased to exist after 2014. Oops. Yet the conspirators provided victims with fake documents supposedly from ARDS, imposing extravagant demands that in reality only suited the conspirators' needs. In 2016, Uniworld prepared an internal PowerPoint presentation expressly informing its staff that they had to be good at lying. Wow! Welcome to your orientation. The better you are at lying, the higher you'll climb in the company. Finally, because these goods were moving outside normal channels, they often were mishandled. For example, according to the conspirators' own emails at the time, the defendants disregarded temperature requirements when transshipping over-the-counter pain medicines. One of the defendants kept a shipment of diabetic test strips that required refrigeration in his car trunk overnight, and another shipment of medical products became covered in bird droppings. Jesus. The products involved in Javat's scheme included surgical instruments, professional dental devices, bandages, and aspirin. Wow. Wow. Okay. And our pretty view. Today is a night under the stars and cotton candy clouds at Oregon Mount. I guess they mean Oregon. No, Oregon Mountains Desert Peaks National Monument in New Mexico. So there is our pretty picture for the day. And unfortunately, that's not big enough for everybody to see, so now I gotta scoot it over even more. There we go. There's our picture. So that is a beautiful vista, ending our government dump with a beautiful sight. And that's another video down. If you liked it, there's this. If you didn't like it, there's that. There's a subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. If you're not sure, there's more content you can watch before you make that all-powerful decision of clicking the red bell and making it go dark. There's also a bell that's just about as fickle as a pregnant woman in a candy aisle when she's got a craving or she's hungry, and because it only works whenever it feels like it. But the bell's there. In the description below is all the ways that you can support this channel, as well as links to blogs and other channels and so on and so forth. So until next time, guys, take care of yourselves.